This was the moment the tragedy in New Orleans occurred.
CNN's Ryan Young and Paula Reed are following the story for us. Ryan, first to you, what more do we know about this investigation?
Well, we know it's developing at this point. Our Evan Perez was able to confirm that suspect is dead. I've been talking to some local folks on the ground there who've been telling me this is an evolving situation. In fact, right now there is a perimeter set up around that suspect's truck.
Unfortunately, the spin is on from Republicans.
I don't know if enough attention is being paid to this, but we all know that for the last 4 years, the Biden administration has been completely derelict in its duty. The congressional Republicans, we here in the House and the Senate, have repeatedly asked the DHS under the Biden administration about the correlation, the obvious concern about terrorism and the wide open border. The idea that dangerous people were coming here in droves and setting up potentially terrorist cells around the country.
Man who monitors his son's porn activity and serves as Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, lied to the American public, saying this is an open border policy failure. It is not. The attacker was Shamsud-Din Jabbar, seen here. He was raised in Beaumont, Texas. He was a United States citizen and a military veteran. Per the BBC, he worked in various roles in the United States Army, including in human resources and IT before he was discharged. He was deployed to Afghanistan from February 2009 to January 2010. He worked for big companies like Deloitte, plus Ernst & Young.
Look, I'm on the Border Security Caucus, and we've had former Border Patrol people come in and talk to us. 55,000 under Biden. I call him Biden because I think he's Obama's third term. 55,000 special interest aliens have come across our border. That's from countries who hate us: Iran, Iraq, Syria, Yemen. You can go right down the list. And yet they're coming into this country free. They've been handled at the border. Now, Cheryl, if only 10% got through that we didn't know about of 55,000, that's 5,500 special terrorists, potential terrorists that are in this country. In Mayorkas and company, as you know, they said we've got operational control of the border. He's been saying that forever. They're not doing their job, and Americans are paying the price for that.
Still, Republicans are attacking the open border and even using conspiracy theory rhetoric that Obama is really the president to dog whistle to their base, when again, the terrorist was homegrown. This has nothing to do with the border. From a sporting perspective.
Breaking news out of college football, the Sugar Bowl has been postponed 24 hours until Thursday night after 10 people were killed and dozens more injured after officials say a man intentionally drove a truck into a crowd on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. So the Sugar Bowl playoff game between Georgia and Notre Dame, which was originally scheduled to kick off tonight at the Superdome about a mile from that attack, is going to happen tomorrow.
As I mentioned, coming on the air this evening, we were supposed to follow the Sugar Bowl tonight, a quarterfinal matchup between Georgia and Notre Dame. But that game was moved as a result of the terror attack on Bourbon Street. Such an unimaginable loss helps frame the relative importance of any game. But that game will be played on Thursday afternoon. And for the young men involved, their coaches, their fans alike, it still matters a great deal. It's an opportunity they have earned through their collective efforts.
We're talking discussion between the Sugar Bowl officials, the college football playoffs, the teams, the FBI, the city of New Orleans. And the reason why they landed at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 Central is because there is an extremely quick turnaround for whichever team wins this game into the Orange Bowl, which is a week away. And so less time to prepare for the team that will play Penn State in that game. So yesterday, both teams were sequestered at their hotels. Georgia had a shelter in place as soon as they realized what was going on and trying to gather more information. So they didn't allow any of their players, any of their staff, their personnel to leave their hotels. Now, later on, as the day went along and they gathered more info, added more security, law enforcement has come to New Orleans in full swing. There's law enforcement everywhere.
As the Sugar Bowl was delayed until January 2nd, some think it's too soon.
Under the circumstances, there might be others out there. Is it wise to go forward with the football game, the Sugar Bowl, even a day later?
You know, not my decision, but I would like to see it delayed at least another day. If they asked my opinion, I would tell them that. I think that it was a wise decision to delay it at least a day. This is an active crime scene, and, they just finished removing some of the bodies, and they still haven't removed all of them. I still think that we probably need to wait an extra day.
That is Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill, who thinks the game should not be played on the 2nd. In a shocking piece of video, after Jeff Hundley, the CEO of the Sugar Bowl, spoke to the media, this exchange happened with a very unserious person.
Can I say something right there? Tell me who you're with.
WSU.
WSU. Okay, and CBS.
NBC's over here on the right.
Oh, that's an unusual position.
I don't get it.
You wouldn't. Look.
Senator John Kennedy, who fakes his accent to be elected, cracked jokes. As one tweeter noted, this is hardly the time when his constituents were just murdered. And then there's Governor Jeff Landry.
I hate to jump on you, but there's conflicting information. On one hand, you're telling the people that it is safe, but then you have co-conspirators that are out there. And then to layer on that of getting all the information, we just had your Attorney General, your Chief Law Enforcement Officer, that says she hasn't even been briefed about those people that they brought into custody. So if your Chief Law Enforcement Officer is not being briefed about the people that are out there, how can the people have confidence?
Well, look, I can tell you this. I am in the city right now. I'm going to attend the Sugar Bowl this afternoon. I will be around. We are going to be briefing the media, hopefully about mid-morning. I don't know about the comments that the Attorney General made. Again, that's part of why we try not to engage in speculation.
And hey, just a quick break in the action. You should go subscribe to my new show, The Rick Strom Show. I'm going to be interviewing people from sports, music, journalists, authors, sports doctors. It's going to be fantastic. Please go subscribe. Thank you. So there's a lot of thoughts here. All right, let's start with this. John Kennedy has sown doubt and distrust in many different federal agencies, right, including the FBI, which he has said that he wants to defund, yet he is begging for their help. So which one is it, John? Which one is it? Do you want their services? Or do you think that they are political foes who are going after maybe some of your constituents and you want them shut down completely? Unless there's a terrorist attack, which, by the way, the opening press conference where the mayor of Louisiana was like, yes, it's a terrorist attack. And then the FBI was like, oh, wait a minute. It really had the feeling of, I don't know if it is, because we don't know who the attacker is. We have seen how homegrown terrorism has multiplied after the Trump administration first took office year over year. And this isn't me saying this. This is the FBI saying this. White domestic terrorism, to be exact. So the opening of this was really fishy to me. But then Kennedy doing this was just icky, especially when he's cracking jokes. This is not a time for jokes, man. And then there's Jeff Landry, who tweets out he's still going to dinner for steaks. And he could potentially put it on the taxpayer's dime or his campaign's dime. Don't really know, but this came in the wake of the tragedy. That also felt really, really, really icky.
Look, I think it's important to remember that the only way to really protect people from evil is to crush it. And the one person who knows how to do that is the incoming President Donald Trump. And I believe that his nominee, Kristi Noem, understands that as well. I look forward to Inauguration Day so that we put in place policies where we're putting handcuffs on the bad guys instead of our law enforcement.
What the hell is he talking about? When we say, okay, over and over that it's a cult, this is what we mean. Hey, tragedy just happened. People were killed. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bootlick Donald Trump live on national television. Guys, how far have we fallen? That instead of caring about the people who voted for you, you're caring about that guy's feelings to stay in his good graces. It's amazing, man. It's amazing how much we have shifted especially not just when it comes to politicians, because there's been a degree of crookedness forever, but the electorate, and giving them what they want to hear, even though it's not exactly what should happen. It's remarkable to me. There was also this. 11 Alive tweeted, New Orleans police chief says majority of mass casualty victims were local, and Sugar Bowl will be safe as scores of UGA fans are in town. In essence, as one user replied, what a horrible way to imply that New Orleans locals are not as important as tourists on Bourbon Street. This is gross. And I continue to be baffled by how many people essentially get wooed and in other ways swindled by the likes of Kennedy and Landry and others. Corrupt as corrupt can be, making a mockery and a show out of press conferences. Hey, how do you know that everything's going to be safe? How do you know the venue's going to be safe? Landry goes, I'm going to be there. And then he gets up and leaves. It's just frustrating. It's very frustrating to me because I agree with the Attorney General that it does feel too soon. And you know who would probably be okay with that, even though in a way they wouldn't because they're just too powerful? The college football playoff and the committee. Yeah, I think putting the security of American citizens and even the players from Notre Dame and Georgia are of the utmost importance to understand this crime scene a little bit more, and substitute that for, we got to play this game. No, you don't. You don't. I mean, we have time. Dates can be moved. There is something called flex scheduling that is okay to do and put in practice. But here we are. And what I've learned about Jeff Landry as well is he will do anything to attend a football game and also try to make a show of that game. We've seen it with the Tiger story. If you have no idea what we're talking about, check it out on demand. And now we have this. How many times do people from Louisiana have to be slapped in the face for them to realize that this guy is a train wreck, rejecting millions of dollars to fund schools and help kids, and instead, let's roll out the 10 Commandments in those schools? Where are the priorities, man? That is what I leave you with. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.